Well, meanwhile, President Donald Trump is reaching out to Democrats in an effort to find a path forward on health care. The president tweeted Saturday morning, "I called Chuck Schumer yesterday to see if the Dems want to do a great health care bill. Obamacare is badly broken, big premiums, who knows?" Dan Lippman is a reporter for Politico. He joins me now to talk more about this. Dan, what do you make of this tweet? Do you think Republicans should be concerned?
Republicans have always worried that President Trump, who's a former Democrat who gave lots of money to Democrats, would want to reprise his deal with Chuck and Nancy like he did a few weeks ago. And so he wants to get something done on health care. Democrats want to keep the insurance subsidies running so that we don't see a catastrophe in the markets. And so, but there's a lot of differences they would still have to work out to actually strike a deal. This is not going to come, on Monday or Tuesday.
I know he wants to do a deal on health care, but is there really a catastrophe in the markets over the next year?
It's not a catastrophe, but if he pulled the plug on these subsidies, that would lead to insurers leaving the market. It would lead to increased premiums, people losing health insurance, and so it would not be a good thing. But he has said Obamacare is failing. But if he pulled the subsidies, that would make it fail more. And so, and Republicans, they don't want to lose the subsidies either. They're not politically popular among the conservative base, but they know that healthcare experts say these subsidies are necessary.
I've got to ask you about these comments he made this week at a military dinner in Washington. Some are calling it ominous. It was during a photo session. I want to play this bite for you.
Do you guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
I don't know, maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
The calm before the storm. We know he's used to going off the cuff, but is there anything to this? What are you hearing?
This might just be a way for him to keep the Trump White House reality show going, because military leader, there's no war that we're about to launch in North Korea. There would usually be lots of preparations of ships moving to Asia, and so this could be a case where Trump just wants to get people on edge. It's almost like, stay tuned after the commercial break, the show returns. And so, but it's clearly kind of a concerning signal that he's, no other president would have said something like that.
It was also interesting. On Friday, the president's administration rolled back the contraceptive mandate in the Affordable Health Care Act. Why is he doing this now? What does this all mean for people?
So this has been in the works for a while. It basically means that employers who claim a religious exemption will be able to not pay for women's birth control. And so this is going to create a lot of hubbub on the left, where people are very concerned about women's rights. But in reality, only a few dozen employers have claimed these exemptions in the past for religious reasons. And so you're not going to see big companies say all our women, who are employees, they can't access birth control insurance premiums.
So I've got to ask you also, there was Brexit in the U.S., in Britain, and now there's Rexit in Washington. What is the buzz between the friction with the White House and Secretary of State Rex Tillerson? What does his future look like?
I'm sure he kind of wishes he had a different first name that would lend itself less to Rexit. There's no good blood between the White House and the State Department. They basically hate each other now. They don't feel like either side is doing a good job, and you're seeing a lot of tension in the relationship between Tillerson and Trump.
But why, it started off, they really hit it off when they met at Trump Tower. Apparently Donald Trump loved him when he met him right away. So how did the love get lost? What happened?
I think a combination of the Trump White House ignoring the State Department and Rex Tillerson doing this whole reorganization where it's all about the structure of the bureaucracy. It's not actually about making diplomatic deals, which Trump wants him to do. And so that's a problem. And I think what further exacerbated was Tillerson saying very openly to fellow senior administration colleagues, the Trump is a moron, and then that quickly got back to the president. It's generally not a good idea in the world to call your boss a moron when you know that he could find out very easily.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If he were to go, are there any people waiting in the wing that are being mentioned as a potential replacement?
people like Nikki Haley, who Tillerson actually does not have a good relationship with. The New Yorker said he hates her because he feels like she's supplanted him as a top U.S. diplomat. But also we're hearing names like Mike Pompeo, the current CIA director in Langley, Virginia, who has a really good relationship with Trump and has performed well at the agency. You don't see stories in the media about really bad morale at the CIA like you do at Foggy Bottom and at the State Department.
Dan Lippman, so great to have you on set. Thank you for joining us, Dan.
Thanks for having me.